I've been running away from my problems for so long, I feel like I can't stop. This isn't meant to be advice or any profound wisdom for you guys. I just wanted to get it down on the record, kind of like part of bettering myself. It's just like, as long as I had this down on something, I could be reminded truly of how I feel about this. And once it's real, you know? But by all means, if this can help someone out there, I'm so glad. Because I feel like I'm not the only one who kind of gets stuck sometimes, but not for the lack of trying. So yeah, if this helps, it helps. I'm someone who gets avoidant at any slightest hardship. And that means like when things get difficult, I tend to find myself withdrawing from responsibility. I miss my deadlines, I leave my friends on red, and I kind of just neglect my feelings. If detachment is just so easy to do, like, why wouldn't I just slip into comfort? I do often find that like these things accumulate and they all come back at once. Instead of doing things I should be doing, I used to play video games, but I've since stopped that. Yet, I do find myself substituting one for one other vices. Scroll like endlessly on these social media apps. I used to think that being productive was a black and white thing, and so you were either doing things or you weren't. So that led me to meticulously plan things and wait for the perfect conditions to do them. But those never arose, and so I was just stuck with these plans, which I was, don't know, too afraid to do. I just had to realize that nothing was ever perfect, and I had to make the leap to do things. Um, yeah. Actually, doing this video was a lot, and I had to overcome a lot to, because I wanted it to be perfect, but me being where I am right now, I just knew it wasn't going to be. So I probably stalled for like 2 weeks before I made this video. You just have to make the leap to do things. So at first, these things would be harmless because you were just distracted and you wouldn't be thinking about what you should be thinking. But as I said earlier, these things accumulate and you find yourself with a lot more on your plate than you're able to deal with because these problems manifest. Missed chances, failed friendships, like led me to think why I wasn't good enough, or just like in general, not really finishing anything. I just felt like the emotional cost at that point was too great. I would stress about it every day, the shame of not being able to finish things. Uh, this one thing my dad like said to me when I was younger, he was like, "Oh, you never finish the things you start. Why don't you finish something for once?" And that kind of stuck with me every time I started something and every time I was doing something, because at the back of my head I'd be wondering if there was something wrong with me because I couldn't finish it. At some point you just realize that running away doesn't really do anything. You just let the opportunities that were meant for you pass by, go kind of unnoticed. In my new way of living, I try and do more things that make me uncomfortable. I try and live a little, and I try and say yes to more things. And that comes through organization and just the courage to say you're going to do something and actually do it. It sometimes bothers me that I didn't do this earlier, but at the same time, it doesn't. I feel like I found this out at the exact time that was meant for me. In that way, I feel like I don't regret too much. But this doesn't mean I have it all figured out, because some days I run like 100 miles in the other direction. Some days I avoid a responsibility. Some days I shrink into a shell and I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And I feel bad for it. I feel gross for running away from my problems. But I don't see this as like regression or anything, because I'm trying to be better, and life just isn't that perfect to be able to constantly improve. Yeah. Avoidance has kept me safe all my life, but it has also kept me small. And I feel like the main driving force of wanting this change is that I'm more afraid of missing out than actually feeling safe in my own shoes. And that's what keeps me wanting change and driving stuff. But yeah. If you ever felt this way too, I'd love to know your thoughts. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.